With the country deep in the throes of a nursing shortage, big questions today about a new edict from the Department of Education. The department no longer considers nursing as a professional degree, a move critics warn could shrink an already strained workforce. The reclassification will limit the loan and loan forgiveness options available to students in those nursing programs.
Trump, you are on my last nerve, and I have been a fan from the beginning. I was all for MAGA, whatever the fuck. Make America great again, right? Can't make America great if you ain't got nurses, right? Because apparently they're not professionals now, right? Apparently they have not made the Trump administration list for professional jobs. They left nurses off. I don't know if that was a mistake, but I know they got a proofreader somewhere doing their job. So what do you mean nurses are not professionals? People that are saving lives. Are you kidding me right now? Nurses are literally the branches of doctors. And you're not just talking about like nurses. We're talking like, it's talking like nurse practitioners, physician's assistants, and up. Medical doctors. Like, are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? Now I want to see this list of professionals. But at the end of the day, someone who understands the anatomy of the body and how it works and the homeostasis of the body and how all of it works together. Trump, you better hope something don't happen to you. Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? If you drop dead right now, nobody might not give you CPR if you go into cardiac arrest. They just might not. I'm just saying. Like, what in the world? What in the world? I hope that was a typo. I hope that was a typo. What a wild time, too, to decide this, being that there is a shortage of nurses right now. You know why there's a shortage of nurses? Because we are overworked, understaffed, too many patients, and not appreciated. They want to talk about, it's not even a shortage of the nurses, really. I mean, it is and it's not. It's about the scheduling. They are pinching pennies to keep them nurses in there. They're pinching pennies to have so many nurses to so many patient ratio, nurse to patient ratio. Lord have mercy.
So nursing is now not called a professional career, according to the Department of Education. Let's talk about that. When I heard this breaking news, I'm just saying to myself that aren't the nurses are considered the backbone of the healthcare facilities? They do majority of the labor for these patients. They are known as the doctor's right hand. They answer all the calls. They put in long hours to take care of everyone, especially when it comes to emergency situations, answering codes and all of that. And you mean to tell me now all of a sudden they're not listed as a professional career? So if the students wants to go to school to be a nurse, that's not part of their professional degree curriculum plan. That does not make sense at all. As you can see, it's already a shortage of nurses as we speak right now. I remember when COVID came, when there has been a very, very shortage of nurses. I remember it was one school that I know, I can't remember the name of it, that, most schools probably doing it, but I definitely know this one school was doing it, that during the COVID time, when there was in need of nurses, because when the outbreak had happened, the students that was actually doing their clinicals, they was actually paying them, because not only they were doing their assignments for school, but they were actually helping these nurses out. So hearing the fact that the Department of Education is removing nursing as part of their professional degree plan just tells you that it's making it worse for the healthcare facilities, because they are already in need of nurses as we speak. And once I heard that, I know it was very diabolical, and I know it's really going to hurt a lot of people, especially the ones that want to be nurses, because they already know that since this has came out, they're not going to be able to receive any type of federal loans. We already know school itself is already expensive as it is. So I know a lot of people is upset about that. But when I heard this news, I don't know, this right here is very diabolical. Now, I know this is all part of Trump's big, beautiful bill, and I think it was said that this won't go into effect until sometime next summer of 2026. So this really going to hurt a lot of people, especially upcoming nurses, students that are inspired to become nurses. They're not going to receive the funding that they wanted to fund their education versus someone who is actually an undergrad. So this right here is very bad. But all I can say is that y'all just stay motivated, stay prayed up. If this is what you want to do, just keep all your faith in God, and He will see you through this. So I know this is hurting a lot of people right now, and I was upset when I actually heard something like this because I do work in a healthcare facility, and I do see there's a need of nurses, and I know a lot of them are doing an amazing job, but this right here, this doesn't really make any sense. So if you guys heard about the news about the Department of Education is removing nursing as their professional degree list curriculum, let me know in the comment section. Tell me how you feel about it.
Nurses are not professionals. Now, hold on. Before you get really upset with me, that's not me saying that. That's the Trump administration saying that. The Department of Education has labeled that nursing degrees are no longer professional degrees. But don't worry, because theologists, they are professionals. That degree, that got bumped up to a professional degree. Make sure all your nursing friends know that the Trump administration doesn't think that they're professionals.
This is the hired caregiver that provides 24/7 care to this dementia patient. This is Natalie Harp. Her job title is executive assistant, but really, she makes sure that this dementia patient doesn't wander off somewhere, like the goddamn roof of the White House, for example, hypothetically. I'm a physical therapist with a doctorate in my field and 14 years experience in home health care, treating geriatric patients with dementia, just like the president. Natalie is the one who types up and posts all of his social media posts. He dictates them to her. She filters and interprets and then types them up. And then you bet your ass she shows them to Stephen Miller before she hits post. You can't just have Grandpa saying anything on the internet, can you? He doesn't know the word seditious. She knows that word. That's why it was posted. This is a break from reality. There is no source or data that would support him saying he has the highest poll numbers of his political career. The polar opposite is actually the truth. Why would he post something like this? Because he has frontotemporal dementia. But all the people closest to him need to keep Grandpa around because he's their meal ticket. Grandpa is the one that built this cult. And when he's gone, the cult will fracture. So many people are saying he's going to be worse. That's impossible. He didn't build the cult, and they don't have an emotional connection to him the same way they do to Grandpa. On top of likely frontotemporal dementia, he probably also has heart failure, chronic kidney disease, and some history of stroke or TIA. I'd say he's got 4 to 6 months left in the land of the living. Thank you for your attention to this matter. Jump scare.
Trump's Department of Education just made one of the most destructive, backward, absolutely nonsensical decisions I've seen in a long time. And that says something. They've officially removed nursing from the list of professional degree programs under Trump's one big, beautiful bill. And before anyone says, oh, that's just a label, no. This means hundreds of thousands of nursing students lose access up to $200,000 in federal student loans. Let me say that again. In the middle of a nationwide nursing shortage, the administration has decided that nursing isn't a profession worth funding. Nurse practitioners, cut off. Physician assistants, cut off. DNP programs, good luck. Your master's, your PhD in nursing, too bad. The American Nurses Association is begging the administration to reverse this because it will crush the future workforce, and they're right. Nurses are literally the backbone of the entire U.S. healthcare system, the ones who actually keep hospitals running, who staff underserved communities, who take on the majority of the patient care, and the government just told them, you don't count. This will devastate rural healthcare. This will destroy nurse pipeline programs. This will push people out of the field when we already don't have enough, and it goes into effect July 1st of 2026.
So the Department of Education announced that nursing is no longer considered a professional degree, which is kind of ironic considering that the people who are making these decisions are old people who are soon to be going to be screaming for their nurse to change the bedpan. But I digress. And as someone who's a nurse, I want to go over some things that make nursing very unprofessional, because it makes a lot of sense. Number one, as nurses, we save lives, and that is so overrated. Like, who cares anymore that you dedicate your entire career to saving people's lives? It's not like if we all quit our jobs, the entire healthcare system wouldn't collapse on itself, because it definitely would. And number two, we don't just save people's lives, we keep people alive. But I saw on the list that they consider chiropractics professional, but not nursing. So honestly, in the ICU, just fire all of those ICU nurses. They're just a waste of money. Just put chiropractors in there and just have them adjust every patient. And then all of a sudden, I bet they'll get better patient outcomes than whatever we could do, you know?
Hey, y'all, just want you to know that with the Department of Education basically being dismantled and put into several different groups, nursing programs, those things are being moved out of education. I believe they say they're going to move it under Health and Human Services. And professional nursing degrees, like your graduate degrees, they're no longer going to be considered professional degrees. So CRNAs, nurse practitioners, they're no longer going to consider you going to graduate school for those degrees as professional degrees. And so what that means is your loans are going to be capped at $20,000 a year. So if your schooling costs more than that, you're going to have to come up with the money to pay for school. And this is exactly why they're doing this, because they know a lot of women are nurses, women make a lot of money, and they want y'all home making babies. And so the best way to do is to keep you from being able to be so successful that you don't need a partner, because they're trying to push this agenda of, needing more white kids. I mean, that's just a fact, because pretty soon white people will be the minority. And God knows y'all don't want that, even though we've been the minority and other people have been the minorities forever. And you are technically the minority when it comes to the world. But that's why they're doing this. I'm telling you right now, they're moving stuff to the Department of Labor so that kids in K through 12, their education is going to be the Department of Labor. Why do you think they're doing that? Put your kids in labor camps. If they feel like your child isn't up to snuff, they're going to do everything they can to get them put out of school, put them in a trade school, and have them in a labor camp. And now, for women who are overwhelmingly become nurses, and a lot of minority women, this is a route you take. Yeah, now they're saying if you want to be a, NP, you're pretty much on your own. And it's not considered a professional degree, which is probably going to make it to where hospitals are not going to be paying as much because they don't have to count it as a professional degree. It's just disgusting. But when you voted for Trump, this is what you voted for. So everybody's getting screwed except for him and his rich friends.
Hey ladies, Trump is coming after our degrees. Woohoo! In case you missed it earlier this month, the Trump Department of Education rewrote which graduate programs count as, quote, professional degrees, and it is one of the most consequential attacks on women's economic independence we've seen in years. So we have to talk about it. This summer, Trump signed a bill that capped how much graduate students can borrow and eliminated the Grad Plus loan program entirely. The only way degrees could still qualify for higher loan limits was if they were labeled as, quote, professional degrees. So a committee met to decide which programs would make the cut. And their preliminary results just became available to us last week when the Department of Education's Reimagining and Improvising Student Education Committee reached a consensus on a proposed definition of, quote, professional degree programs under the One Big Beautiful Bill Act of the Trump administration. And here's what they had to say. By the end of negotiations, the Department of Education agreed to recognize just 11 fields: medicine, dentistry, law, pharmacy, theology, and a few others as, quote, professional degrees. They made the very specific and intentional choice of excluding nursing, education, social work, public health, counseling, occupational therapy, and architecture. And here's the part they're hoping you won't notice. The excluded degrees are overwhelmingly held by women. In some of these fields, 80 to 90% of graduates are women. The newly protected degrees are male-dominated fields and often much higher pay. So what does this mean? It means women entering teaching, nursing, mental health care, or social work, the fields that literally hold American communities together, will suddenly be limited to much smaller loans with fewer options to cover the cost of their required clinical hours, licensing, and training. Many simply won't be able to afford these degrees at all. And at a moment when the U.S. is already short hundreds of thousands of nurses and teachers, these restrictions make the pipeline even thinner. They will impact our communities and our career paths. This is not an accident. They might want you to think it is, but it is not an accident. It aligns perfectly with a broader pattern of police work to make it harder for women to enter the workforce in the first place. The Department of Education is expected to issue a notice of proposed rulemaking in the coming weeks, which will open a 30-day public comment period. So you must use this time to be vocal on this, as it will shape women's lives for decades. We will not let them just push us out of the workforce.
The big, beautiful bill strikes again. Nurses to the front. We got to talk about this because this profession, our profession, has been under attack since 2020, since the pandemic. And now, with all the changes that's taken place with this administration, the Department of Education has decided that advanced nursing degrees, such as your nurse practitioners, your DNPs, which are nurse practitioners, possibly your CRNAs, because those are also versions of nurse practitioners, are no longer considered professional degrees. Also including your licensed clinical social workers, your educators, also including your physician assistants. I had to remember who else was on that list. Is this not ringing a bell for everybody now? Is it not clicking for people what's taking place? Now, before I say what I got to say, I want everybody to take a step back and look at every profession that is included in what he says is not a professional degree. Please take a look and tell me what the common denominator of all of them are. Don't worry, I'll wait. Because if you haven't figured it out by now, every last one of those professions are driven by women. All of them. All of them are driven by women. Now, it's kind of odd to say that a associate's and a bachelor's degree is considered professional, but an advanced degree, which is your MSNs and your DNPs, are not considered professional degrees. I wonder why. Well, let me tell you. This is a twofold attack, okay? The first one I stated was obvious, is that it's driven by women. It's a woman-driven profession, okay? The second one is the influx in Black people that have entered into these professions. The amount of Black nurses has gone from about 6% since 2020 to about 10-ish% in 2025. The amount of LPNs went from about 13% to about 29% since 2020 to 2025. The amount of Black nurse practitioners from 2020 to 2025 has gone from 5% to 10%. There is currently 260,000 students enrolled right now in nursing school. Each year, there has been an increase since 2020 of about 10% for Black people per year enrolled into schools. Now, remember me telling y'all a while ago, I said during the pandemic, stop telling these people that we making yada, yada, yada when it comes to this pandemic, because that will not always be the case, right? They started to regulate how much time we could work, started cutting the overtime, saying we can't make this, we can't do that, start slicing all the contracts, start slicing the stipend, saying now you have to work all these extra hours for not even half of what they were willing to give us at first. They wanted to regulate nursing overtime because nurses started to go in making six figures. Well, you can't determine if it's a white or Black nurse that's making that money. So what do? You put a stop to all of it. Now, look at what's about to happen now with the same people that are in this profession as registered nurses who spend on average 3 to 5 years at the bedside. Most of them go on to get a professional degree in nurse practitioner work, which can either be clinical work or mental health. Okay. Most NP programs run about 2.5 to 3 years, which means there's going to be a buttload of kids coming out right now, or not kids, I should say, a nice lump of people coming out within the next year, within the next 12 months with a nurse practitioner degree that will no longer be covered by the Department of Education. That program by itself can run anywhere between $30,000 to $70,000 for your degree. What happens? The schools close down because the people stop going. They can't afford to be there anymore. They're not getting kickbacks from the government because they no longer have the funding to take care of what they need to take care of. Then also look at it on this side. The students who are currently enrolled in nursing school where their tuition won't be covered will have no choice but to leave and drop out, leaving the workforce with a huge deficit. And when there is a deficit inside of a workforce, the consumer pays for it. In healthcare, that is a dangerous thing to be because we are already overworked as it is. Staffing ratios are not where they need to be. That means people are going to be neglected. There are going to be mistakes that are being made. Lives will be it's going to cost people lives. So for them to make this move, it was very intentional. Very intentional. They knew exactly what they were doing with this. And you are blind as a bat if you can't see that it's in your face. It's in your face. Y'all think it's bad that Meemaw can't get her cup of water and a pain pill when she need it, and she has to wait 20 minutes because we're in the middle of a code or whatever the case may be? Oh, just wait until 260,000 students can no longer complete their program, and most of these nurses are leaving at the 5 to 10 year mark, walking away from the bedside. Just wait until you see how bad that's going to be in the next 2 years. Before this Trump administration is done, it's going to, y'all, I don't think this is the move in the game that y'all want to be playing right now, because nurses will walk away. Nurses will leave the bedside. And then who's going to be there to take care of your loved ones? We literally kept the world functioning, kept the world going. And when nurses aren't happy, nobody's happy. That hospital, that unit, whatever it's going to be, they're going to feel it. They're going to feel it, and they're going to feel it bad. And the nurse practitioners that are there to ease the load of your physicians, y'all think physicians don't make mistakes? Big mistakes that your nurse practitioner catches and your nurses catch? Y'all think they don't make those mistakes? When they're tired and overworked, and that nurse practitioner is there to help ease that? This is going to be interesting. This is going to be interesting. I don't know what to say. I don't know this is going to be very interesting. It's the key to generational wealth for a lot of people. They know a lot of these people who are currently in nursing school. And like I said, enrollment has gone up 10% every year for Black nurses. How many Black people live above the poverty line where they are able to pay for school without student loans? Okay. Yeah, have a good day.
Why is this really, really bad news for all of us, not just nurses? Part of Trump's One Big Beautiful Bill Act actually changed loan repayment programs, setting a higher annual cap for professional degrees at $50,000 a year compared to other graduate degrees at only $20,000 a year. The concern is that not just nursing, nurse practitioner, physician assistant, physical therapy, occupational therapy, social work are all now no longer considered professional degrees. This is terrible news for a system that is already struggling, where we have major nursing shortages and where there are also physician shortages, and physician assistants and nurse practitioners are filling the gaps in a lot of places, especially rural areas. Also, take a look at the types of fields that were removed from professional designation. A lot of them are female dominated compared to the fields that are still considered professional degrees, including chiropractic and then also theology. Now, my husband has a PhD and a master's in theology, but just to point out that is likely on there because of political reasons. No, this is actually all part of Project 2025, where they wanted to privatize all loans, get rid of public service loan repayment, and eventually dismantle the Department of Education, which is already happening. I've also seen comments, and this is very astute, where a lot of these fields are mandated reporters when it comes to child abuse. So nursing, teachers, social workers. I have no great call to action. I don't know if a public outcry is going to do anything or if this is a done deal. Please keep talking about it. And this is incredibly important to learn the ramifications of your vote. You may do knee-jerk vote because of X, Y, and Z, but you can cause serious consequences down the line that can basically hurt the entire healthcare system and your own interests.